It is a mini jungle back here, but I've been working at it all day. My mom came out here and worked at it a little bit too. But for those of you that know me personally knows that I had a bit of a situation going on with puppies. And now that that is over, I can finally get back out here to the garden. And stuff is just overgrown. But this, I don't know if y'all remember me saying that I was gonna do a pumpkin patch. Well, I did it, and they have been growing, the leaves. And I didn't just do pumpkins, I did acorn squash, butternut squash, spaghetti squash, and pumpkins, and what's called cucamelons, which is what's growing up the back right there. And these cucamelons look like mini cucumbers when they're ready, but they're really, really small, a little bit bigger than a grape. And I've never had them before, but I wanted to try them. But this is the beginning of one of them. This is where the acorn squash is gonna be. Well, it's already here, but when they start growing, I'll be able to take some video of it. And then the spaghetti squash is next to it. And the butternut squash, which I already have one little butternut squash. Well, I have more than one, but one that opened up today and I was able to pollinate it is right down there. See if I can get it. Right down there. And there go another one. If you're familiar with butternut squash, you know they look kind of like a little bell. Well, to me they do. That one's gonna probably open up tomorrow, and I'll need to pollinate it, but I don't have any male flowers to pollinate it with. But it's quite a few all over here. And then the pumpkins are right here, but they taking their sweet time. I haven't seen any females, but I have had some males open up, some male flowers, but no females. But because I haven't been out here for a long time, the watermelon are just taking over. There go a watermelon growing. First of all, I didn't even need it to grow on this fence. This was supposed to keep it from the dogs being on this side and the vegetables being on this side, fruits and vegetables. And so the watermelon just grew. And so there's a watermelon. I believe that is going to be a Florida giant, but I'm not sure. There's a watermelon. I had to put it on something because it grew on this gate and it wasn't supposed to, but that is a black diamond. And that already weigh about 10 pounds. There's a watermelon back there hiding. Let me see if I can. Yeah. I don't know which one that is either. But they just taking over. They just growing all over here. And they growing all outside the gate. They weren't supposed to, but they did what they wanted to do because I wasn't out here taking care of it. And but there are watermelon all over this thing. There's a baby right here. That might not grow because if they don't get pollinated, they'll just rot off and die. And I don't think that the bees pollinated that one. I took the corn up because I had a caterpillar eating all the corn and it pretty much dried it out. So I just snatched it up out the bed. I got 3 more to pull out. But the watermelon just grew all the way down here and they weren't supposed to. Earlier when I came out, the whole tomato cage was knocked over on its side because the watermelon started to grow up there, and then it got heavy and knocked it down over here. Here's another watermelon. I found a baby watermelon on the ground, ate up. Let me see if I can find it. I don't remember where it is. I threw it over here somewhere. This is the sunflower. I got sunflower seeds off of it, but the bugs got to it first, so I probably had like a handful of sunflower seeds out of probably hundreds. This is a cantaloupe that something ate out of and left the carcass. I threw this watermelon. Oh, here it is. I'm stepping on it. It was a watermelon that something ate. But I got another watermelon hiding down here. It's another one growing inside of the gate, but it's in my tomato. I did a cutting. I took a cutting from this tomato cage here, and I just started to, I put it in water so that the roots can grow, and it started to produce its own tomato plant. But the watermelon decided that he was gonna grow in there, so I got a watermelon in there growing, and it's like 2 or 3 more over there somewhere, but I gotta trek to get through. The tomatoes are doing terrible. I have not been out here to take care of my tomatoes, and I still got a few growing. I'm gonna get back here and cut it back and all of that, but it's just been too hot out here in Texas for me to get out there like I want to. And this is the first weekend that I didn't have puppies to deal with, although I'm sad about what happened to the puppies, but it's the first weekend that I didn't have puppies to deal with, so it's the first weekend I'm out here. Look, because I'm not out here enough, something is just always eating on stuff. So that was a cantaloupe, and something ate right in there, and it's surprisingly, it don't stink yet, so I'm gonna cut that off today and throw it away. It's a watermelon down there. That's a sugar baby. This was lettuce. It was growing, it was down here. The watermelon covered it up, so it's not doing good. And then the cantaloupe and the watermelon was just growing all over here. This is a different watermelon bed. You make me want to do a garden, but every time you say something, I change my mind. No, it's still worth it. Something do eat it, but you still, if you have the time to get out here, you can prevent it. But it is a lot of work. You just gotta get in it. My dog had 6 beautiful puppies, and they didn't make it. They got to week 12 and they all started getting sick. Something like what? So there's something called a tomato hornworm. There is a field way down there somewhere, and I'm sure there are field mice coming back here, because when you come out here, you can smell the watermelon and the cantaloupe sometimes. You can smell the cucumbers sometimes. So I know that it's just attracting whatever. I have a neighbor who has a mulberry bush tree, and it's always crows and birds in there. That's why I bought him. But it's always something in there, and all they got to do is just wait till we not out here and just come over here and eat. So squirrels, birds. Yeah, Ricky, I bought a cage from Walmart, and the cage, when I took it out, I didn't realize that the cage had already been used. It was a big gated kind of cage. It didn't have a top or a bottom. It just kept them from being in other parts of the house. But it was grimy and dusty and dirty when I took it out. And come to find out, you know, it was it had a disease. Somebody else had it and returned it to Walmart. Their dog obviously had parvo, and I put the puppies in there, and they just started to get sick one by one. I was doing everything I could to save them, but it just didn't work out. So I was sad. I was crying. My heart was broken. But so yeah, I'm mad at Walmart for putting that back on the shelf, because if I would have just disinfected it with bleach, I would have been able, but I never knew. All I knew is it looked nasty when I took it out, And instead of me returning it, I had school. I'm like, I need this cage. So I just dusted it off, made sure I didn't, you know, put them in a nasty cage. But I was thinking, I wouldn't have thought to use bleach because they puppies. I'm like, that's a harsh chemical. I'm not going to put them around that. But little did I know, I needed to have used bleach to disinfect the cage. So yeah, every last single, well, 3 of them died in my care as I was trying to get them back to health. But the last 3, I was so scared that I was going to have to watch them die, and they were suffering. And so I took them to the shelter so they could give them care, but the shelter decided to put them down. Well, that's what they told me they were going to do. They still looked healthy. They just decided they didn't want to eat anymore. So I don't know what the shelter did with them. No, it's okay. But the worms and the rats, yeah, I hate that too. I only saw, because you know this is the alley, so I only saw one mouse, and he was over there in the far corner, headed out the yard, and I never saw another one. But I can't be sure that, you know, they weren't in here eating, because every time I come in here, I mean, I can't think of anything else besides a bird or a squirrel or a mouse that could bite hard enough through watermelon rind and cantaloupe rind. So it has to be a mouse. And that field is like probably a mile long or so. So I know that it's probably just crawling with them. And we in Dallas, so you know how they do Dallas. A lot of people in certain areas of Dallas don't quite care. So, but yeah, so I have okra now, and so the okra is doing good. And I'm almost to the point where I can pick okra every day, but not enough for a whole meal. So I'll pick some every now and again. This is what happened to cucumbers. Thank you. This is what happened to cucumbers when you don't take care of them. I was dealing with the puppies for about 3 months straight, and those cucumbers that was always producing every day, they kept producing. If you let them stay too long without picking them, they'll turn orange, and then they'll be really bitter. I don't know if you ever bit into a bitter cucumber, but it is not fun. I pickled a few of them, but they were growing everywhere. They just started growing all out. Nothing was the way I left it. So I got cucumbers on there. It's still trying to produce. It's still flowers. I need to pull down all the dead stuff and rearrange all the little stuff that's still living, like this stuff down here. Some is over here. This was broccoli, but I wasn't out here to take care of it, so the caterpillars devoured the broccoli. Just really ate it all up. I cut 3 broccoli heads off of here, but it was so messed up from the caterpillars, I just trashed it. I didn't even eat it. But the good thing about broccoli is that once you cut the main head, side shoots would try to come out. It's just I don't have enough time to nurse it to make sure that it does well. And obviously nothing cares for the okra, because the okra is just doing good. This is okra, people. Don't mistake this for something else. See the okra? That's okra. And that's sweet basil that's going to seed. All these little flowers will drop seeds, and it'll reseed itself. I don't even have to replant it. They'll blow all over the yard if I let it. This is about to be eggplant, and I have a carrot that I was thinking about pulling. I let baby Allure pull a carrot and she gonna eat it all and then tell me she didn't like it, and then wanted to pull another one. I was like, I thought you didn't like it. And then her mom told me, she said that I don't like it, but she ate the whole thing and was happy to eat it too. There goes more okra. This is how the flower from the eggplant looks, And that's self-pollinating, which means it have both male and female. An enclosure for what? From the birds and stuff. So I had an enclosure for the dogs. But in order to have an enclosure for birds and stuff, I would literally have to make this a cage. And I just don't want to have to walk in and out of a cage every time I come out here. And then that'll be a lot of work. A cage from here to here, all the way around the edges. I mean, it'll probably save stuff. I know it will, but that's just a lot. Come build it for me, Ricky. I would love to. Yes, matter of fact, I haven't seen you in a long time. Why don't you come with your tools? I got tools. All of God's children got tools. And we can get out here and build me a cage. Well, it can be both of ours. We'll just keep it at my house. Okay, look. This is a carrot. And I left it for a long time. I know, Ricky, I'm trying my best, but yeah, you should. You ain't been. Did you come? You came to the housewarming, right? Or did you not? I don't know if you've been over here yet. If you haven't, shame on you. Carrot. I planted the tiny variety of carrots. So this was because this was just a small box. See, the box ain't that tall, so I didn't want the carrot to go so deep. So I forgot what it's called, but it's a little small carrot. And you can really pick carrots whenever you want to. They have those baby carrots and all of that. Yep. Well, this is a garden box. I didn't grow it directly into the ground because the soil back here is like clay. But yeah, they will grow in the ground, but for the most part I do everything in my garden beds. The only thing I haven't done in the garden bed is that pumpkin patch, but I haven't been out here to pick any of the cucumbers, and they all over, but I let them go to waste. And I hate that because I don't like wasting food, and I feel so bad that I let them go to waste, but they all are just orange. You entertained, Ricky? Are you not entertained? More cucumbers. I mean, if y'all want to start growing something, the two easiest things to grow is squash. Well, actually, it's more than two. Squash, like a yellow neck squash, a zucchini, or cucumbers. They are the easiest things to grow. You can put them seeds in, and just as long as you water them and forget about them, they're gonna grow. And you don't have to worry about, well, you need to come out here and pick, like, you want to make sure you don't have weeds, but the squash roots are really strong, and it'll crowd out anything else. Matter of fact, your squash will get so big you won't be able to, you can get it. I know I showed a couple of them. They were huge, like the size of my arm. And so I'm about to pick all of these today. Ground there, but just cucumbers. If you just get a cucumber plant, and all these little tiny ones are also gonna be cucumbers. And they all over. If I was to just show y'all, they all over. They just everywhere. When you look closely, you'll see a whole bunch of them. They're growing on the other side of the fence. And more sweet basil, and this smells so good. I picked a few of them. I picked probably like half of one of the plants I had. I picked half of one of these, and it grew again. They'll keep growing. But I dried them out. I washed them real good, dried them out, and then I used them for I had a couple cucumbers, and I made like a vinegar kind of thing I put together with garlic and stuff like that. and I stuck some basil in there, some sweet basil, and I let it sit in the refrigerator for a while, and it came out good. These are more carrots, but they're not nearly as nearly ready. But this bed had a hard time because it's back here in the shade. So what I'm gonna do is plant cool weather crops back here for when it get cooler, since it's already in the shade. This is where I had that big old zucchini at, that big old zucchini plant, and I pulled it up because there is like a caterpillar. It's kind of like a moth, but it'll lay eggs at the base of the plant, and when the eggs hatch, the babies will, before they turn into caterpillars and butterflies and all of that, they'll feed off the plant, and it'll turn your plant like a woody texture, and it'll kill it from the bottom up. And once it kills the roots, you're pretty much done. So I just pulled all of it up. I don't know, Ricky, do you have a backyard? Because I have watermelon plants that's kind of going to waste. They look tired right now, but they'll get better when you water them and put them in some dirt. But they've been back here growing for the longest. This is the plant baby allure planet. It's a bell pepper, and weeds got in it, so I'm gonna water it because it's all hard. But I can't wait till it gets some bell peppers on it so I can show her her hard work. And these are butternut squash, and I was gonna attempt to do some more corn back here so I could watch it better, but when I got busy with the puppies, I wasn't able to take care of it. So some more green beans back here, and see if I can get, you know, a good harvest by Thanksgiving. And then I have red onion that was also overgrown by the watermelon, and so weeds started to grow in it. But I don't know if you can see that it's a red onion down there. Let me see if I can. It's just a tiny bulb. It's not quite ready, but can't really see it. It's a tiny bulb down here, but when all these start turning brown and they land over on this side, that's when they'll be ready to be picked. So that one's a red onion, and then this one is just a regular onion, and it'll do the same thing. Oh, actually this was garlic, not onion. This one was a garlic, and the same thing. Once this start to lay, they all starting to turn colors. When they start to be all like dried out looking and land on their side, they'll be ready to pick. But right now it's probably nothing in here. Oh, it is. Never mind, my bad. It ain't ready yet, but it's a little bitty tiny garlic. Oh, and the smell is strong. Yeah, the smell is already strong, so I'm not gonna mess with it. But that'll be 1, 2, 3 garlic cloves, 3 red onions. No, 2 red onions. Yeah, 2 red onions. And something was eating the peppers. So this one was done for, came off. This one is growing. It's stunted because I have it in this pot. But if I take this out, and it's 3 in here. If I take this out this pot and plant each one of them in a separate location, they will, they'll do way better. Which I think I might do, but I don't have time to do it today. But yeah. And this is the a mess of sweet potatoes. My mama's supposed to be out here checking to see if her sweet potatoes are doing anything, but she don't really like to. She thinks she's slick. She just want me to do all the work. She always be, don't be messing with my sweet potato bed. But I be the only one out here cutting and trying to keep them all together and looking nice and not overgrown. And then she be coming out here like, I gotta check on my sweet potatoes. When you did something for these sweet potatoes. Don't tell her I said that, y'all. I was gonna cut one before. Like whenever I'm over here in this sweet potato bed, she know, like her spidey senses be tingling, and she come out of nowhere. I be like, wait, relaxing. Now all of a sudden I'm touching this sweet potato bed and oh, there it is.